live stream coming up on this Friday with Frank Stephen, who you can find on YouTube as a Nigerian perspective. And I just wanted to check because the last time when I did a live stream, for some reason it didn't go on YouTube directly, and then only went on Twitter and stuff like that. So I just wanted to make sure that it's all working good. So I'll just do a live stream with myself, and if you're out there, you can send me your questions or anything that you want to talk about, any comments or anything like that. So I can also check the chat function, which wasn't working properly last time because I did it with Riverside and I haven't done it with Riverside. It's a lot easier with StreamYard. I don't know if what your opinions are about that as well. I might switch to StreamYard just because of that reason, because I'm trying to do more lives going forward, like possibly every Friday. But it's hard to say because of my day job and other things that come in life. So yeah, have a look if you're on the stream. Let me check if it's on right now or not. I'll go on the let's see, let's go on the live stream chat. Nobody's there right now. Let's check the Twitter one. So Twitter one is on right now. Don't know if people are saying anything over there or not. Let's have a look. Nothing on the chat so far. Seems on. I'm just sitting over here. We are not far behind you. Good luck with everything, Momus. Thank you, Cheshire Matters, for that message. Let me see now. That's pretty odd. So the messages are coming over there, but the messages are not uploading on the stream chat. So that is something. That is a problem, seems like, with Riverside. So we will have to either correct that at some point. I don't know. It just seems like a pointlessly complicated Riverside. StreamYard. I've checked with StreamYard because the one that Frank Steven, who I'm going to do it with, he uses StreamYard, and it's so much easier. It's so much easier to use, and you can track everything properly on there. So maybe Riverside is going to lose a customer, I guess. It's good though, Riverside, with creating AI clips, and it's a lot easier. So that's why I keep it. But let's see. So what should we talk about, anyways? Since I have you guys over here, some of you might want to talk or put in some comments or whatever. I'll check. I think so. I'll have to go on Twitter and keep the chat open so I can see if anyone is saying anything, because otherwise it's otherwise it's not good, is it? Okay. So what has recently happened actually? I've said on Twitter as well that I'm reducing my social media um, views and stuff. And apologies for the mess in in my study. Jordan Peterson wouldn't be happy about it, would he? But we're in the process of moving homes, so everything is a bit of a mess. Although some of this mess has always been there. But yeah, so the reason why I've said about the social media, or reducing my involvement or engagement on social media, is I'm seeing that some of the people are using social media specifically just to get angry at each other, or just coming on to because they have some issues, and rather than facing those issues, they're just coming on there on anonymous accounts and just spewing hatred at each other, just being as horrible as they can be to each other, because they have their anonymous accounts. I'm not saying all anonymous accounts are like that. I know most of the anonymous accounts are actually very sincere, and they have genuine reasons why they're anonymous, because like either I can sense for myself as well, right? So if I wasn't me, And if I was a bit more of a sensible person, maybe I would be anonymous on Twitter as well and on social media, because I get so much threats from, Islamists and so on for speaking against Islam, as you usually do. So there is genuine threat over there, and you know I'm not funded by anyone. I do my stuff because I like doing it, and I have a day job, and I have been investigated at my day job, and I've had issues with my day job as well, and continual issues. It's not just like you have problem with, you know what the problem with that as well is, when you start saying things that people don't want you to say, or the establishment narrative doesn't want you to pick up. What happens is, it's not just your job that is at risk when you start speaking. It, it's that your career is at risk, right? You could leave one job, but when you go to the other job, they will see you from those metrics as well. So you might not get the jobs that you want, you might not progress in life what you want, and then in that way you might not be able to provide for your family how you would like to provide for your family. As a man, you would be, if it happens to a man or a single mom or whatever it might be, you might not be able to provide for your family. So that is a factor, and I understand why people go anonymous. you know oh wait, I don't know if you can hear the, actually drop me a chat. Nobody seems to be chatting right now anyways, but if you could hear that fan or not, because I had this fan on. It's a bit hot. um so maybe you might be hearing that, I don't know. But either way, as I was saying, um I understand why people have anonymous accounts, but there are certain people who are just there to increase hate and trolling and stuff like that. I don't understand the nature of trolling as well at times. But when we have times like we have right now, where everyone's anger is so amped up, and all we end up doing is continuing this cycle of outrage, this has real life consequences on people. And we need to be mindful of this. Now, I'm not saying like, oh, we have to be fake nice to each other, and we have to be, the injustices are being done to the native population in Britain, and to a lot of people everywhere, and that we should just, put up with it for the sake of politeness. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that we need to be mindful of the when we have a discourse, or when we have an argument, when we have a conversation, is that you try to have that conversation in the same way as you would have in person, right? Because otherwise it's not genuine. Otherwise you are there for that reason only, just to be a troll, just to be a horrible and wild person. And it's not productive. It's not productive. And yeah, I'm just going to stop engaging with such accounts anyways. I used to engage a bit with those accounts who were being a bit wild towards me. And the reason was because, I don't know, I just wanted to get through to some people to tell them, look, it doesn't hurt me personally, I can just, like, throw it off. But I know they will say to someone else, who will then come back to them, and it will just start a fight. Or even in my comments, they will just keep on fighting with each other. People will start taking offense on other people's behalf, and it might just ruin someone's day. And it just, what's the point? Why are we doing it? Why are we just continuing this cycle of hatred with each other? We need to stop that. We need to stop letting us being so divided and so disconnected from our own base natures, or um, from the humanity that we should cling on to. So the reason why I said to that I am going to try to sort of step away a little bit from Twitter is because I myself have been on Twitter a bit too much, right? And I can see, I want to, like, because I usually have moments of self. I take some moments to reflect on my own behaviors, my own engagement, the way that I'm interacting with people, and on and on and on, my own thoughts and stuff. I think so. We need these moments just to recalibrate, and also it keeps us. Well, actually, at least it helps me. I can say it for myself. It helps me um, be honest with who I am, so I can, I can take those moments and I can say if I was incorrect in the way that I behaved or something, so I can tell that to myself, right? And I can develop enough humility in me so that I can admit my mistakes and course correct, right? So I'm not one of those people who like doubling down. Like if I made a mistake or say, oh my god, I can't admit my mistake, because otherwise if I admit my mistake, that means, oh, my whole credibility is lost. Like I'm not one of those people, right? If I made a mistake, someone has pointed out, I'll admit to that mistake. If it's a genuine mistake, I'll try to argue the point as diligently as I can if I think it merits a counter argument. Otherwise, it will be just a thing that I will self reflect on. So the reason, the main reason why I want to step back is, one of the main reasons is, um, because I want to make sure that I'm not enabling the outrage through my tweets as well. And also I feel like, all that we're doing is like just creating these against each other, and showing videos from here or there. Yes, there's relevance to it. There's a fine line between being aware of the issues and just creating outrage. And it feels to me that there's a lot of people right now on social media, because social media now, especially Twitter, and I'm very grateful for Twitter for giving me my voice back, so to speak, and not have me shadow banned all the time. But there is some negative elements to the monetization effect of Twitter itself. Because and especially when there's no copyright, so you can take anyone's video from anywhere and just put it on, and you get the benefits of publishing those videos and stuff. So it seems to me that it has created an incentive where people want to do things for the sake of it. If it is earning them money, they might not completely believe in it. They might believe in a counter argument, but because it earns them money, because it earns them more clicks and views and stuff, they're going to push that narrative more, right? So there is a danger of, what is the main danger of that? The main danger of that is that we might end up losing ourselves in the process, right? Because we become so resentful, we become so hateful of each other, um, that we start viewing everyone the same. Yeah. And we end up being led by our resentments, and will corrupt our souls. The actions that people in history, it has always shown, the actions that people have taken, led by pure resentment, have always ended up badly, right? And those people who committed those, they spent generations trying to wash themselves of the sins that they committed, if they are good, conscientious people. So I think so. That's something that I want people to be focused on, or at least acknowledge that, what are we trying to achieve. Just first take a step back and think, what are we trying to achieve? What is the best way to achieve those things? Is our frustrations, who are our frustrations with? Our frustrations with the people, um, just the illegal immigrants who are coming in and committing crimes. Those are valid frustrations. I have frustrations with that, as well, because I don't feel safe with such people coming in, because it's not just the implication that they might or might not be nefarious people. Obviously, if you're coming into this country and your first act is committing a crime, then it's safe to assume that your intentions are not good. But let's say let's say they're desperate people, right? They're trying to come in and whatnot. But it's a fact. what what disturbs me more is the fact that our system and our government is allowing that to happen, which which shows me that they will allow, if they can allow such a thing to happen, then they can allow anything to happen, and they will never protect us. So it's sort of like, I think that's at the core of it for most people as well. It's not the people itself, is it's the fact that how the government and how the system is letting them down, and that it's not working for the people, right? So that fear is very valid, that fear is very real, because you just don't know what else are they, what else are they doing against the best interests of the people. What else are they willing to do, right? So but we need to be so that's just why I'm saying, like, we need to be certain, like, why are we frustrated, we are and who to point our anger towards most. What are the most effective ways of getting our message across, and what is the most effective way of bringing change. Now, if we want to remain in a political system, and if we want to bring change, which I, you know a lot of us might be in two minds about, but I think so many people don't understand war. Many people don't understand civil war, and they think it's a game. They think like it's like Call of Duty or something. It's not a game. you know it has serious consequences. Any sort of conflict, any sort of war, and we need to understand that we can't just we can't just attempt to destroy a system without taking all the views on board, without understanding all the aspects, without understanding what are the actual real consequences to everyone, not to one specific group of people, but to everyone, including every individual. A civil war scenario, yeah, it scares me, not for myself, because obviously, there will be real life consequences for me as well. I'll be caught in the middle of two sides, probably, seemingly, but also because of the people who do not have the means, you know who are dependent on a lot of factors, who are vulnerable. So, are we just to, are we just to ignore that, you know and yeah, I have someone on Twitter messaging right now. Sugar Buff Drove Daddy. Nice name. End of the day, this is a small island. Yeah, that is valid, and this is what I'm saying. This is a small island, and we should be concerned about that. We can't let so many people in. Already, there are so many people in, that we shouldn't have the amount of people that we have right now as well, right? And the kind of people that we're getting as well. It is a worry. It is a worry, but we need to understand how do we aim to tackle it. Now, if we aim to tackle it politically, there's another level of frustration that I can understand of people as well, and I have the same frustrations as well. Those frustrations are that we actually do not have a political front that is able to deal with this in the desired way. It seems like we will have to concede so many points to just get the illegal migration in control, that we might not even get all of the illegal migrants currently right now deported, that we might only get, if only we'll get, the future illegal migrants not coming in, right? I don't think so that's a compromise I'm willing to make, right? I want a comprehensive look at the immigration and remigration policies that needs to happen, that addresses the needs of this island and needs of the people on this island. There's already too many people in this country who hate this country, and I'm not sure, like, and there's no efforts being made or have ever been made to require assimilation before granting them citizenships, you know. So I think so it's right to demand a relook at a review, a reform in these matters, or not just immigration matters but remigration matters as well, not just illegal migration but legal migration as well, because otherwise you're just festering in factions in your country that are going to consistently work against you, right? And some people might say at this point, like, why, as an immigrant, it is a matter of, like, why am I, like, pulling up the letter or whatever they call it? Well, you know, why did I come over here then? Right? Did I come over here to create my own nation? Or did I come over here to be part of a nation? Right? So if I came over here, which I did, to be a part of something, then I would want to protect that something. I would want to safeguard that something from being corrupted, from being made into something that it never was. Because then I'm not going to be a part of something authentic. I'm going to be part of something fake. And what happens then as well, because of these false assumptions and false actions by governments thinking they're doing something nice for the minorities in this country, what happens is that they end up pitting the minority against the majority, right? And that is the fault of a weak system who did not um, give importance to assimilation. And assimilation cannot happen, like, some people might say assimilation can never happen, right? And we can say, okay, to an extent, maybe full assimilation cannot happen within a generation. Like, it's impossible, actually, if you think about it, full assimilation happening within one generation. It has to happen in generation. It has to happen where a system is proactively promoting assimilation, right? Proactively wanting people to assimilate through series of things, and make sure that there's no, like, there's no sectarianism within society, which we haven't done since the first mass migration of Pakistanis that came in 1960s, or previous migrations as well, uh, after 1900s, right? Now, because nobody had that forward thinking. Nobody had that thinking, okay, these 50,000 people, these 20,000 people here, there's 10,000 people here, eventually are going to become 100,000, 200,000, 500,000. But obviously they will. Obviously they will multiply. That's what humans do, right? And then what will happen then? They thought at all this liberal idea that all human beings are the same, and we have all over the world, we have the same requirements and the same way of thinking and so on. It's a false idea. We thought, like, okay, as long as, like, um, people are given basic necessities, who cares? Like, oh, we'll have different cultures and we'll have different things. Nobody cared, because it didn't affect for a very long time, as the numbers were low anyways. So maybe it was affecting in pockets, and which were manifesting in areas like Bradford and stuff, but it wasn't on mass scale, right? And then when you when you just open the gates blindly, then those problems are going to compound. They're going to multiply very, very quickly. And this is what we're saying. This is the reason why we're seeing the disintegration of everything, because we didn't, the British governments, the British consecutive British governments, and the British monarchy did not enforce this idea of the need for assimilation and a higher requirement for citizenships as well. Like, citizenships, the government started treating that as a Tesco club card, like I normally say. It's just, or just a membership club card, right? So, which was based on monetary factors, that you can pay these certain amounts, fill these minimum requirements, and then you can live in the country. There were even people who had lived in this country illegally who were given citizenships because they had lawyers, they had these dodgy lawyers working for them that proved that, okay, this person was illegal, but they've been here for more than 10 years, blah, blah, stuff like that. And they were somehow given citizenships through our home office, right? If a person has been held illegally even for a day, that's it. They have already broken their contract. They should not have the citizenship. They do not fulfill that requirement. Or at least, like, there has to be some criteria why they have been here. Were they under prosecution, blah blah, stuff like that. And even then, like, you need to have a really high criteria, right? If we have people from, let's say, people from countries where there's no war currently coming and seeking asylum, right? That should already, sort of send up some signals in your head. But it just doesn't seem, it seems like we're so hell-bent in thinking everyone is such a good person. Why would anyone lie? Why would anyone want to leave their country, to come over here? Well, I tell you, why would anyone? Because we're giving free money to people. Who doesn't like free money, right? So a lot of the people who have no integrity and who have no dignity in life anyways, why wouldn't they love free money? We keep giving these, let's stop giving any sort of benefits to these people, and let's see how many of them still come here for the love of this country, right? Let's say everyone, including myself, I've never taken state benefits anyways, yeah, never, yeah. um but I have benefited from sorry, from generations of British natives who have built up this system, right? So I benefited from their ancestors' hard work. So I'm cognizant of that fact. But let's say we we put into the system that no immigrant, the first time immigrant, will get any sort of state benefits. And also they will have to put in, let's say, 5% extra or whatever, like maybe a small percentage, high percentage, however you want to say, a certain percentage of NI tax more than the others, if we still want to maintain the social national health NHS, right? To say that, okay, you have to compensate for what you haven't done, right, up till that time. Then let's see the amount of people that remain here or come over here still for the love of the country. Because a lot of people come over here through, to do their university degrees and whatnot. And they're not really here for that matter. We all know, they take enrollment in dodgy universities and whatnot, and they try to stay the minimum requirement that you need to stay in the country to get the citizenship. And once they get the citizenship, then they can avail themselves of many benefits, right? So the child benefits and whatever, but social housing and whatever. Let's say, like, no matter, even if you are a citizen as a first generation immigrant, you will not get benefits from the state, because the reason why you should be coming over here is not to get yourself, or there's like a limitation of benefits, like you won't get social housing, whatever. Maybe you'll get job security benefits and stuff, because we want people contributing, so we still want to help them if they lose their job for whatever reason, right? So job benefits are a bit different than getting social housing and stuff like that. Then let's see, those numbers will start depleting themselves, because a lot of people that come to Britain do not come for Britain primarily because they love Britain. They're coming to Britain for the economical benefits, and that's fine as well. Up to a point, that's fine as well, because let's say if any of the British people wanted to go to America, most of them do, right? For to earn more money than over here, and then afterwards come back to England, right? Or they want to go to Singapore, they want to go to Japan, they want to go to Dubai, wherever, right? For a bit of time. In those countries, they would not be expected to be loyal to those countries, right? They will still be loyal to Britain, and but obviously it's up to those countries to have their own regulations and whatnot as well. But in the same sense, we can't expect people who are coming over here just to have a better life for a while, or just to have progress, or just to go to uni or learn something new, or like work in a field. They've been transferred from some other country to work over here temporarily. That's fine. It's always happened in the world, right? These things happen, like not to a mass scale, to a minimum scale, but it happens. Like you travel, but then you're traveling by merit. You're traveling because of your skills. You're traveling because you're fulfilling a need in that country. That doesn't mean that you have an automatic right to citizenship for that country, right? You can just be given residency, and you can work, and and you can leave. And if you want to be part of that country, not that you have grown to love that country, if you live there for 10, 20, whatever years, then you should have to go through a more strict criteria to do that, right? But still, the reason why you would be doing that is for your future generations to be of this country, so not for your own personal benefits. So again, first generations immigrants, just stop the benefits for them, see where it leads, right? There's a lot of things that we can actually do politically. There's a lot of things, if we have the political will, that we can put in the bills, get the royal assent, and get them into laws, make them acts, and we can actually do a lot of things if there is a political will to do it, right? But this is the problem. We don't have the political will to do it. We have a lot of political cowardice. I don't know if reform, even if reform party on the political light. Yeah. Sorry, well, I was just reading some of the text, and some of the texts have come in over here now. Chat Shield said 100% Momus as always. Thank you so much. Bosch said, "Can't believe people who study here can just bring their entire family to live here." I know. I found this. I'll give you my own experience about this. Right. So I came here to do my postgraduate. Um, I, I came here because I love the country, anyways. But I didn't plan on living for too long, because when I came over here in 2010, and I came to London. It's a side note from your point, Bosch, but I'll come to your point. So I came over here in 2010, and I came to London, and it was in Walthamstow, I think so. Yeah, around the East London area. And you know what? I was very disappointed. I was so disappointed, because even 2010, I didn't find London to be English, and I was like, "Oh, where have I come? Who are these people? Why do we have these English gangs, and sorry, not English gangs, Asian gangs and black gangs, and they're fighting with each other. The way that they're speaking is not English. Their mannerisms is not English. The slangs do not seem like the London Cockney slangs. What is actually happening, right?" And in the course of my study, the next 8 9 months, I got more and more disturbed with what I was seeing. I was seeing the culture being eroded, and it really disturbed me. I was like, the Britain that I had in my mind, the Britain that I loved, the Britain that I adored, the Britain that I want to be a part of in my mind, was just not there. At least it wasn't there in London. And that's when I left London, and those feelings started turning. When I left London, I went into Essex, more started living more with the English people. So the love of the country came back eventually. But I found that very disturbing, that there were people who could bring their families in while they were studying, because I would not have ever dreamt that could happen, right? I remember a friend of mine saying something of that sort or something, but because they were going to do their PhD or something of that sort, and they were going to bring their, he wasn't a friend of mine, acquaintance of mine, they were going to bring their wife over or something of that sort. And I was like, surely the British government is not going to allow you to do that. I mean, what the hell are you talking about, you know? But they did. And I was just so surprised. Like, why are you letting these things happen? And also, there were many people that were over there, illegals and stuff like that. People who were, so there were people at in those in time in 2010 or something. If you came here as a student or something, you were only allowed to do 20 hours per week. There was a new rule that was put in. You can only do 20 hours per week, and I was like, well, I didn't come here, I came here to study anyways, like for the degree that I was doing, but it was more of a professional degree, so I had more time. So I would do like just 20 hours in a restaurant somewhere or something, like, just part time. And there were a lot of people, not just like from different countries, from various different countries, foreign people, right? They would do 20 hours in one restaurant, 20 hours in the other shop, 20 hours somewhere else. Right? And the rule was 20 hours altogether, but they would do that, and the companies would allow them to do it, right? And I kept on thinking, like, you know what, let them do it, because they're idiots. They're doing this, the short-term thinking and stuff, because they're breaking a rule, they're breaking something that is prescribed for them not to do. They'll probably not, get their visas and stuff afterwards, their work visas or whatever. They will be rejected because they'll know by their bank accounts and their taxes and stuff that they have to pay this many taxes, so they're actually exceeding their allowed limit. Nothing of that sort happened. None of them got their visas or anything rejected because of it. And I was like, that's when I started realizing how ridiculous the system was. It wasn't speaking to each other, all the other systems, and these people were just allowing these things to happen. And that's where I started finding also the underbelly of these British people who were primarily, not primarily, yeah, primarily actually, only on the political left, who had a deep hatred for the British culture. So when I would go as an immigrant, I would go, like, reading British history books and stuff, like, because I've always done that as kids or something, buying those things. They would question me, it's like, oh, why do you care about British history? Oh, it's all like colonialism and we are all racist and we had all slaves and stuff. And yeah, I had a hard time adjusting to that reality, because I thought they were just some people. I didn't realize how many of the people on political left was. And Bosch says further, when I go to Paris, for example, I expect to see French people and French culture. Exactly, exactly. Oh, I can put that on stream actually. I didn't realize. Oh, here you are. I totally understand your feeling towards London. It's crazy how the city has changed since the 90s. Yeah, but it was just disappointing. It was just disappointing. And Tony Blair did, yes, he did open the floodgates, but I think so. The floodgates were open. The more that you look into it, the floodgates were opened by Labour. The mentality of this mentality of mass migration and stuff was already opened by Labour a long time ago. Was it Harold Wilson in 1960s? I don't remember when he got the people in 1965 or so. There was a labor shortage in the north of England, in the factories and so on, and the manufacturing firms in those places. He got the people in from Pakistan, from the Mirpur regions of Pakistan, the villages around Kashmir, who are not really Kashmiri people. They are sort of northern Punjabi people, like ethnically, because they speak Punjabi as well, but they are not also fully Punjabi. They're like a mixture of both. And the Pakistan built a dam in that decade, and that dam flooded all those villages, like 200 or so villages. So those people were displaced. A lot of those people had to come in the cities, the metropolitan cities within Pakistan, to work. And Harold Wilson, I hope I'm right in saying Harold Wilson, but Harold Wilson, let's say just Labour PM, who it was at that time, he got like 50,000 or so people in one go and placed them in these all these manufacturing working class localities within England, Rotherham and I think so Bradford and all those places, right? Not so the mentality was already there that if we have labor shortages or whatever reason might be, we can just import other people to do that job and not actually work on upgrading our own people, upskilling them, let's see, like, or let's get the people temporarily, have them work, and then put them in, like, make them aware that this is a temporary assignment or whatever. And in that time frame, look at what the problem is. Or you have a population collapse right now because of the world wars and stuff. Oh, so what should you do? Maybe you should, give more benefits, or not benefits, or whatever, make more positive policies to support families so that your own people can have more kids, so that this problem is not there in the next 18, 20 years when the kids come of age, right? So that it can get fixed, so that you're not dependent on it. Okay, you have a labor shortage. Let's say you do not have enough computer software engineers, right? So you don't just import a whole lot of people from India and keep on doing that to recover, to cover the gaps in your market. You get people on a temporary assignments. A lot of countries do this. You open up your visas. Oh, we have a 10-year visa. Oh, we have a 20-year visa for professionals and stuff like that who want to work in this field. Very limited visa. It doesn't count towards your citizenship years or whatever. And after that, you'll be asked to, leave if not required, or whatever the circumstance might be. And that 10, 25, whatever years, you what you do is you make sure that enough of your own people get trained on that. Because then you say, okay, if we have the computer software engineer gap, there's no student loans for that field. So everyone who wants to do that, allocate more resources to the university, say, okay, pay more attention to this field, because we need more people in the future in this field. We need to train up our own people. You adjust these things. You don't just you don't just go for the easiest option to get people in willy-nilly, of any culture, any sort of people, and then they start settling in, because it's not fair on those people as well, because they're coming in, because you're asking them for, like, you as in government, not the public, because the public has never asked for these things, to be honest. But you as government have asked them to come over here and help the country with their market gaps. They come over here and they do the job and whatever. They've never required to assimilate, so they never assimilate and stuff. And then after a while, they get their citizenships because they think that's their reward for whatever they did. And then there's an issue because there's people from among their numbers who are not assimilating, who are causing, problems and stuff like that. Then all of them get starred by the same brush, and then hatred come towards them. And they're like, the good ones amongst them, they're like, what did I do? I didn't have a say in it. Especially the second and third and the fourth generations. Like, my parents came over here because he gave them a job. I assimilated. Others of my country didn't, because he kept on getting people, because you didn't stop or anything. You didn't had any need for us to assimilate. So it's unfair on the people, the immigrants as well, but more unfair on the native people, because it's the native population that gets left behind, right? So basically, what is happening in it is that you are not paying attention on your schools, and you can see how the decline of the schools in England, right? They don't care about the working class people and the schools that they go to. right? Because what's the point? They know the people, the immigrants, and their children are going to do better anyways, because they have a better family structure and they're going to pay attention at their studies. So they don't care about upgrading the working class people so they can be the future, they can progress in the future, and you won't need immigrants and whatnot. The government doesn't care about that. So I mean, that those are the kind of changes that we need in policy. Not just the kind of changes that says like, sorry, I didn't realize I was speaking for 45 minutes. My throat is going bad. But not just the kind of like, so this is the problem that I have with people when they talk about policies and the change that they need, because they just spouting out populist lines, right? They're saying, oh, just stop the boats, just stop the close the borders and blah blah. Yes, that is needed to be done, and that will help. But we need more. We need the positive policies that favor the families first, from the perspective of the families of the native population first, right? So we need to go in deep within the policies, and not just like, or just stop the boats and that's all we're asking for. Because if that's all you're asking for, that's all, not all they're going to give you, but that's the only field in which they will give you. So if all you're asking for is for people to be remigrated, right? People who haven't assimilated, to be remigrated, illegal immigrants to be remigrated, deported, illegal criminals to be deported, and all illegal migration to be stopped, right? So it's all in the field of immigration or remigration. If that's all you're asking, they might give you a compromised version of it, but only in that way, right? They will not give you the supplementary thing of making sure that while they're stopping the immigration, that they are actually reducing the need for immigration, right? The same thing that they've done with Brexit. Now try to I hope I'm trying to make sense over here. The same thing that they've done with Brexit. So we asked for Brexit, they gave us Brexit, right? But they didn't make sure to put in policies where we will not need the EU to do the things better than what we could have done. So what happens is that people start going back to that narrative then. It's like, well, why did we have Brexit? Because we starting to be worse off. It's because they gave you just Brexit, right? But not the ability to maintain it properly and not to make it a success of it. So if we only go for immigration in that sense, they will give us immigration to a compromised version of the immigration, but they will also make sure that it becomes a disaster, right? That it doesn't help anyone, that it actually does not become a success. That way they can prove their point why they needed it in the first place. So when we ask for these things, I think so we have to be broader in it, and we can't ask for these things in sort of one line activism, right? These things need to be asked in policy based, political party based stuff, if we are within the political system, unless we want to have a revolution and just go ahead with it, right? So I'm not sure. Yes, Bosch, I agree. Bosch has said, like, let me put this on because I like this new toy now, where I can put people's messages on the screen. You can see I'm very new to live stream because I'm finding these things very exciting now. Okay, reform has been really disappointing. They need to be banging the drum for remigration, but they seem very passive for a party looking to gain power in 5 years. Precisely, it's because they for the most part, I see them as a populist party without these policies that I'm talking about, these wide ranging, interconnected policies, right? So these things that we're talking about, they are not in isolation. Immigration, the problem with immigration is not in isolation with the need for better schooling, better education, better universities, better placement, helping the working class people, and making sure the family is being catered to. The family, all the policies are catered towards having better families. All of these have to be connected. So when I see the policies, I don't see the policies. I don't see it in depth in the policies. Hopefully that can change. I'm not sure. I'm of the mind that maybe, this, I feel like this happens when you have political parties that come up which do not have an intellectual base to begin with, right? So we might come up to a point where we need to forget about all of these parties on the right and create a new party on the right. Maybe I like maybe traditionalism, maybe traditionalist conservatism that Burke talked about, right? So that could be a way to do it, and build an intellectual base with proper policies laid out and also roadmaps of how to achieve the things that you're saying you're going to achieve, right? In what steps you're going to do according to our systems, using the systems that we have, how you're going to do that. Show people that roadmap that shows that you have done serious work, that you have actually thought about, that you have intention of delivering what you're saying, you have intention of delivering your manifesto points, that you have actually done those things, right? So it might come to a point that these players like Farage and stuff, they get tired and they leave the discourse. I hope, because the Reform Party has such an opportunity right now to gain the imagination of the public, you know. But just they started doing a little bit like they're fighting back. Lee Anderson always fights back and stuff, but it's just on the policy side. For now, I find them disappointing. So I don't know. I wonder how interesting it might be to create a political party with someone like Matt Goodwin, who understands certain things, who is likable, and who's very articulate with what he says, and able to discourse with people of differing opinions, able to convince people of differing opinions as well. So it might be interesting if something that can happen in the future, which might involve people like him, not just the populist people, but actually people who put some intellectual base to the party. Anyways, almost an hour I've been talking, and I've actually forgotten what I was really talking about. Yeah, I was actually testing the live stream, wasn't I? So the test has been working fine. So what's happening is, as far as I can see, on my Riverside where I do the live stream, it's pulling up YouTube comments. Yeah, it's pulling up all the YouTube comments, but it's not pulling up Twitter comments. I don't think so. Even what's that? StreamYard does that as well, so that might be a common thing. Hopefully, something of that can be done in the future, where the Twitter comments can come on the streaming link as well. So let me see the comments that have been put by Sugarpuff Trove Daddy again. I was born a Muslim in London. I grew up despising this country. I managed to snap myself out of the delusion. It was really hard to it was really hard too when you don't have anyone to help as well. I assume it's quite rare. I hope more have snapped out of it and are maybe hidden like me. I hope. I hope so as well. I hope you see this. This is my experience in construction last year. I was working as a laborer in London Bridge, central London, and I sparked a conversation with six Indian guys. Would give them cigarettes, would feel bad for them, and they told me they never had CSCS cards. I'm guessing that's some sort of qualification for the construction field. They had only been in the country 2 to 3 months. They were all living. Sorry, my made a yeah, you made a mistake over there. But all living in one room somewhere, and all of them each were making £4 an hour. I kid you not, £4 an hour. It says they were telling me like £4 is good money too, and I was shocked. Yeah, this is the problem of modern slavery. Is the modern problem of modern slavery that is just basically going unnoticed, isn't it? Larry Line says on Twitter, "Good evening, Momus. Hope you have had a good day, buddy." Thank you, Larry. Yes, I think so. It's been okay. There's been few people that have annoyed me, but you know what? You just gotta move on. You just gotta see which people are actually serious about helping to change the things in this country, and which people are just concerned about their own selfish needs and their own selfish desires and stuff. Oh, I've got a message from my wife and I haven't responded to it 18 minutes ago. Gonna get told off about that. Well, I have to just deal with that. I'll blame it on you guys. I forgot to see. Anyways, so yeah, it's almost been an hour. I'm just going to end this stream as well. I think so. This stream is working fine, and I can do the stream with Frank um on Friday. Hopefully he's available on Friday and we can do the stream with him. We What we're going to talk about in that stream is actually about persecution of Christians in Nigeria. So Frank Steven is from Nigeria. He lives in Nigeria. He has a very good podcast, a Nigerian perspective. He had this live stream. I haven't watched it yet but I did talk to him about it behind the scenes, and he was saying it was sort of like an African experience of what it means to be an African sort of thing. So it was him, a Nigerian, his friend who was from Zimbabwe, and another friend from South Africa, and they were talking about the African identity of different identities of different countries and stuff, and how it's not one country. And so it might be a really good listen. So it's really nice to have that perspective of different cultures in different countries as well, how they see themselves, because sometimes we see everyone in a bubble of what lives over here, but it's not really a true picture. So he has a very famous podcast on Nigerian perspective. Is really good. You should check it out on Twitter. He does have critiques of Islam and stuff like that as well. He's really good with putting out YouTube shorts, 1 minute explainers and stuff. Really, really well done. So I've been on his podcast before, on his live stream. I think so. He's been on mine as well. On Not on my live stream, but on my podcast. But so this time I'm going to do a live stream this Friday. I'm hoping to do a live stream this Friday around 4:30 or 5 o'clock. I'll let you know. And we are going to talk about the persecution of Christians in Nigeria by Islamists, because that's just going really unnoticed over there. A lot of people are getting killed, but it's not a problem of this year. It's an ongoing problem from years and years and years. And I'm very interested in obviously, as you guys might know, I'm very interested in Christianity. I have a lot of time for Christianity as well, and a lot of time for Christians. So I want to discuss with him what is actually happening, what are the dynamics that are playing over there in Nigeria, because people might know, like, Nigeria is not just one ethnicity. There are different people in Nigeria that make up Nigeria. So we'll talk about that, and you can join in. You can ask your questions as well. It might be really good to ask them something that you don't know. So yeah, I'll catch you then, and we'll just end this live stream now. Thank you so much for everyone who was joining in. We has also said we are the deceived, lost in the foreseen. Like, yeah, we are like, people have become the lost sheep. So our shepherds have actually sold us to the wolves. And this is why we are so lost. So we need to get that sense back, most definitely. Anyways, thank you everyone. Thank you Bosch, thank you V, thank you Shield, thank you everyone else. Gesture matters. Everyone, Larry, everyone, for coming in, dropping by, putting in some comments, and hopefully I'll catch you. Let me know if you think this is a good idea, just for me to do a stream every week, not with just some guests, but just myself. Like, if you guys have any questions and stuff, you can just drop in. We can just do an hour stream every week. It's a lot easier. I don't have to edit the video then. But anyways, yeah, let me know, and I'll catch you next time. Take care of yourselves. Let's stop this stream now.